Welcome to Y11 Audio. I'm Alex Alvarado. Thank you for listening. Let me tell you about this episode that I'm doing right now. I'm not doing this in my normal studio, though I am doing it very, very close to my home address. I had planned on doing this on a Sunday, and like Sundays, Mondays, it's kind of like, when it comes to this podcast, when it comes to this season, how am I best able to put out shows? Sunday, Monday is like the window I want to do one of the 2 episodes a week. Looking like Thursday's going to be like the other episode a week, right? What I wasn't planning on doing was recording away from my desk. When I was planning on doing it away from my desk, I wasn't planning on doing it still in Michigan or still like right in front of my residency. I was not expecting to be recording this podcast live from a car, because that's where I'm recording this. If the acoustics sound like a little bit weird or slightly off, not that they're ever great because of me, but if they seem a little bit off, I am in the back seat of my own car. And so that in itself is an experience. Just being in the back seat of the car that you drive every day, behind the seat that your butt's sitting on. This is kind of unique. This is kind of like so this is what people see, huh? So this is what it's like over here. Let's talk about reactions to the UMass game. We're going to do this in a 4 downs kind of format. We're going to do it every week like this. So Thursdays, obviously we're like thinking of this in terms of like, are the games on a Saturday? Because it makes sense to think of it like that, when the Thursdays are going to kind of be like, the audio lead into the game. And then the Sunday, Monday kind of deal is a recap, so to speak. No pun intended. Wanted to get more than what I got out written-wise for week 1. Was distracted with essentially like another assignment that I had to do. Like I told you, I was going to start working for Pro Football Focus. Just had an assignment that I had to do after the UMass game, so that kind of tied me up for a little bit. And then yesterday I was just, a little bit busy all day. So now, finally got a few minutes. Let's get this out in a reasonable amount of time. I don't want to be doing this for too long. Honestly, all these episodes, I really need to stop going for 30, 40 minutes. But you know what's going to help? If I stop interrupting myself to say stuff like that, because that adds a minute. 28-14 EMU UMass. EMU opens up the season with the win that it's wanted to. If you're a betting person, you were looking at the lines and you're like, I'm a little bit confused of which way this is going to go, because I think it was who was it that opened? Was it EMU that opened as like a 2-point favorite, 2.5-point favorite, and then it swung in the other direction at 1.5 or 2.5, something like that. So that was a little bit interesting to see, just beforehand, because you want to get a good read, but obviously Vegas's read's not going to be. I shouldn't say obviously Vegas isn't going to have a better read than me, but I don't think Vegas is going to have too much of a better grasp of the series that is what Chris Creighton versus Don Brown has been. These tight 1-score, last year was a 2-point game where EMU just had to pull a rabbit right out of its butt at the very end. This wasn't like that. EMU, started looking good right off the bat, even though it didn't score on its initial offensive drive. Was a goose eggs both ways on the scoreboard the first quarter, but they were driving leading into the second quarter, finished up with a touchdown there, got a second one, got some stops. UMass got a couple of scores in the second half, but EMU's defense was bringing it all day, tightened down on UMass's offense. UMass, sure, it's got a lot of moving pieces. Sure, UMass is honestly capable of more than what it showed. UMass is capable of just I think UMass is definitely capable of getting to a bowl this year. I don't know what their schedule is, but I've seen worse teams than that and still make a bowl. So I thought UMass played a pretty good effort. It was cool to play UMass and have the defense do what it did against their quarterback, who was getting just a lot of attention. Once you're a blue chip, out of high school, you're a blue chip for life, right? Tyson Fumachan, huge dude. EMU's defense, they wanted to, if you're thinking like what's a traditional EMU defense kind of looking like, I'll tell you it's a 4-2-5, but that can mean so many things. In so many things includes Quintavious Scandrett drops down from like a safety position, isn't like a two deep guy, but can play like one of the linebacking roles. They definitely stayed in that 4-3 look pretty much all game, and they were just like, yeah, we're going to go man on the outsides, and we're going to dare you to beat us over top. Pumachan tried taking his shots over top, tried. Hardly really came away with too many of those efforts. Really forced him to do work on the ground, was the team's leading scorer for UMass. He had 90 yards gained when he did go forward, but he moved backwards a lot, 33 yards lost. And that's a statistic that includes sacks, right? Because that's obviously going to be part of it. EMU's defense with the sacks had 5 sacks in the first half. That's where we're going to start right now, all right? Sorry to be like all over the place right now. It is first thing in the morning. It is 7 a.m. and I am not caffeinated. So first down, we're just going to go through the box score. But ultimately, what this segment is the week 1 Happies, because don't you just have a case of those? Don't you just have a case of the week 1 Happies after a game like this, after just waiting so many months? The last game against South Alabama happened, right? Whatever happened after the game, that also happened. But I'm not going to talk about it right now. What I am going to talk about is that it took 252 days since then to get a little bit of that taste out of the mouth, right? A little bit of that. And when you see games like that, and when you see games across the MAC where, sure, there's some losses to P5 school or Power 4 schools, we can say now. And yeah, there's the wins over FCSs are not something to really brag about on the streets, but man, the scoring margins were really, really good. 66-10, 41-17, 49-10, 54-15. That's a funny looking score. So good on the MAC to just do that. But yeah, man, the week 1 Happies, those are real. Just going through the box score, when you read this box score and then you kind of compare them to last year's numbers. Conveniently, I don't have last year's numbers all up in front of me. I'm not trying to fight with the internet right now. I just have what I have downloaded on my laptop, which isn't much. But that last year's offense was sputtering. This year's offense, so far, what did they do? 3.8 yards per rush on the ground, 8.6 yards per pass attempt through the air, 14.2 yards per completion, which is a really, really good rate for the receivers to be at. Just a good looking team, man. Let's see, what are some other ones? A couple bad things though. The penalties. There's just too many of those, but it wasn't a lot of procedural stuff. I think the only procedural one I can think of was an illegal shift from Max Reese, right before he went out on a pass pattern. But yeah, a lot of effort penalties, a lot of got my hands where they didn't need to be sort of situations, and an offsides on special teams to start the game. But you're excited for the season, whatever. 7 penalties, don't like the number, do like the effort. It'd be worse if it were I think there was only 1 holding call through that. I could be wrong. I have to double check. Yeah, nothing to be too displeased about. 375 yards of total offense. Don't really know what last year's number looked like, but 375, that's a good figure to obviously be at after seeing a team that was just majored in 3 and outs last year. Just watching the way this offense performed was really good. And like the 5 sacks, like that number right there, man. Like the 5 sacks in the first half, 6 to finish the game, 9 tackles for loss. Yeah, that's good stuff right there. That is good stuff. Oren Singleton, even, he led the league. He led the game. 8 catches, 89 yards. Second leading receiver was Terry Lockett, 3 catches for 80 yards. Marcus Allen also had 3 grabs, 61 yards. They had longs of 33, 32, 40 yards. Like, that's spreading it out. That's spreading it out and getting productive. That's spreading it out, trusting your new receivers, letting them make plays. That's good stuff. Love to see that. Love to see that. Yeah, so the week 1 Happies, man, like, you waited a long time, you're hoping for so much. You don't want to put your foot in your mouth too much just from, like, your personal forecasting of, like, how the season's going to go. Start out going to UMass, beating them 28-14. Never trailed in the contest, which is always, that's just good stuff, man. That's just good stuff. Second down, I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit. Shouldn't be doing that in a 4-down format, but I need some coffee so bad. I am so excited to like finish this recording, and yeah, wake up my young family that's inside. Second down, some MAC scores. I read a few of them. Didn't tell you the names though. It was Buffalo that beat Lafayette 30-13. Central Michigan beat Central Connecticut 66-10. Bowling Green beat Fordham 41-17. Toledo beat Duquesne 49-10. Those were your Thursday games. Friday, the only MAC game, the one that got everybody's attention, if not because the one player did a leapfrog over one of the referees in the back of the end zone. So funny. 28-14. That's honest to God. And so not all these games I had like eyes on / strong eyes on. Those first 4 I mentioned, hardly really watched them. Yeah, wasn't home, wasn't able to watch the games in real time when they kicked off. And then when I came home, looking at the scores, it's like, all right, good for you guys. See you later. Friday, watched some, not a whole lot. I was just, I had it on. I just half watched it, but still, Western Wisconsin. It's a good series. It's a nice fighting series. Obviously, it's much different looking today than it was in the Cotton Bowl back in 2016, right? Because that's when Wisconsin was doing really good and all that stuff. And then Western Michigan was led by PJ Fleck. Now they have Lance Taylor. And now Wisconsin has, it's no longer Paul Chris. It's, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name already. This is how much coffee I've had on me. I know he was at Cincinnati. Oh, no. Why can't I think of his name? It's that guy. But yeah, 28-14 was the final score between Wisconsin, whoever they're led by, with but anyways, yeah, that was the Friday score of Wisconsin, Western Michigan. I wouldn't be mad if that was like a series that played out every, let's see, it's been 8 years. I think that's a good trajectory, to be honest. If they did like 8 years, 12 years, like rematch, like every 8 and 12 years, something like that. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. It doesn't have to be every 10 years they play. I don't really care about that, but like, I think they should definitely like breathe in and breathe out their series, and like, I don't think that they should like really like stack games and all that stuff. I don't know. There's just something about those two programs. I just think like that's one that like it makes sense when they play against each other. Not because like I think that they should be in the same league, but like I think like Wisconsin, Western Michigan just seems like a intriguing matchup if it could have been played like year in and year out. So if they could like figure out something to where like, hey, it's something to like really look forward to every decade, that'd be kind of nice. Saturday, obviously Eastern Michigan beat UMass 20-14. the only other MAC win on Saturday, I should say, even though like some of these other MAC teams looked decent, have to like watch a lot of them. That's the thing about week 1, man. That's when like things are most spread out, but it's also like when there's the most games on in total, right? Once week 2, week 3 is my favorite week of the year. Week 3 and like week 4, like once we get cooking with those, there's not as many on the whole books because there's not as many FBS versus FCS games to worry about. And then like the conference games kind of like dial down that number a little bit more. But anyways, yeah, EMU beat UMass, Northern Illinois, Western Illinois, 54-15. That is like, I don't know, that's a college baseball game gone wild. Ohio State beat Akron 52-6. Pitt beat Kent State 55-24. That was actually a very exciting one. That was actually very, very exciting to see. To see Kent State even get to the realm of 24 was probably twice as good as I thought that they were going to be. So, yeah, that's really, really impressive out of Kent State. Really, really is. And it just goes to show, like, you know, hey, what is the transfer portal looking like in this sport? Kent State went on the road and put up 24 points. Syracuse, Ohio. Syracuse beat the Bobcats 38-22. I didn't watch any of that. Maybe like 3 clips, but like I haven't really been able to watch that. I know that Ohio's running back just took off for 200 yards. That's really good to see, though. Northwestern, with the most like interesting backdrop in all of college football, right? I think that's that's something to say, right? Is Northwestern a coastal school? People are asking. Northwestern beat Miami, the defending MAC champions, 13-6, a real college baseball score. Yeah, that just looked like a tight one. I didn't get to watch really much of that. I did have that on my other TV while UMass EMU was on, but yeah, I'm not gonna act like I really paid too much attention to that. So this is normally when I would tell you about like the standings in like the MAC and all that stuff, but obviously these are all non-conference games. There's no real reason to give you an update on the standings because there were no MAC games. Hey, where's Ball State on here, huh? Did everybody else have fun? Ball State, did you have any fun this weekend? You guys do good? Third down, my big thought, man, let's see, I'm already like pretty close to where I wanted to be cut it off at. My big thought coming away from UMass on third down. Cole Snyder, man, there's some trust put onto him. I thought EMU was going to try to push its way up front, was going to try to really, really, really just get the most out of Dante McMillan, really, really just get the most out of Delbert Mims, try Elijah Jackson Anderson out more, maybe Deion Brown. Let's see what these running backs can do, and then let that open up a few opportunities on the outside. That was not the case. They did not run the ball a crap ton. On the books, it'll say, let's see, I'm looking at right here, 35 total carries for 143 yards, 134 yards gained, actually, 134 net yards. So 35 carries, 134 rush yards total, and 2 rushing scores. Passing, 241 yards on 28 attempts. So there were more attempts passing than there were rushing. Though it did not really feel like it. I think that a lot of that rushing was just like once EMU got to that lead, and especially like there was that one turnover where like Delbert Mims only needed like 2 rushes before he got into the end zone, so that kind of helped things out for him. But EMU, it just seemed like they really just put the trust into Cole Snyder. They said, yeah, you're the quarterback, and that verbally means this is your offense, quote unquote, but this is your offense. You have to make the plays out there. You're the one that has to spot passes. And I thought that a lot of the yardage, and this game is not exactly how the next 11 plus games are going to go. But Cole Snyder was told to, if not throw it like so deep where it's like halfway downfield, spot those 20 to 30 yarders as perfectly as possible. Just make good decisions, just make efficient throws. We're gonna have you like extend the field. We're gonna have you pick up the chunk plays. We're gonna have you get the first downs. We're gonna have you, throw it over top, get it over a couple of defenders, and see if you can put it in a bucket, which he did a couple of times. For him to mesh well with Oren Singleton, like I said, who had a good day, Terry Lockett, who was on the receiving end of like a few like pretty long catches, as long as 32. Marcus Allen, who caught a short one, broke a tackle on I think it was like a 3rd and 7, like a 3rd and medium. Was able to like get out of pressure and pick up a first down anyways with his athleticism. Just a really interesting showing for the 3 new receivers like that. And Terry Lockett's been here for a year, but he didn't really play too much last year. Just whatever he did play was honestly forgettable. Whatever he did but on Saturday, that was not forgettable for me. I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to remember the 3 catches that he had, because I think that he's going to be used as a weapon a little bit more in this offense, especially downfield. But Cole Snyder, man, I thought he looked good. I thought that he looked better than, it says 17 for 28 officially. I thought he honestly was better than that. I can think of 2 drop passes, one by Delbert Mims. That's a pass that could go both ways. It was just like it was the very first series of the game too. 4th down, like completed the 3rd down pass, but the receiver didn't pick up the first down. I don't remember who it was to. It was probably Oren Singleton. Didn't pick up the first down. They go for it on 4th and short in UMass territory. UMass defender gets in Cole Snyder's face. Still was able to throw it over top of him on just like this little swing route to the running back, little check down situation. But it was definitely like a very, very soft toss. Really just took a few seconds just to get there. Hit Delbert Mims right in the hands, but he seemed like he was expecting something a little bit quicker, bobbled it a little bit, and then dropped it. Not the way that you want your first series to end, on a drop pass on 4th down out of 2 graduate transfers right there. What you do want to see is the response, which is marching downfield 97 yards, going the length of the field, and then Cole Snyder taking it himself to punch it in at the very end. With ease, man. 97 yards over 10 plays. And I think it was under 4 minutes, too. That's good stuff. That was really good stuff. So, yeah, I think, good on EMU to not force its way to win with the run game. As, cool and tough guy as it is to, win in the run game. Why wear these guys down week 1, right? Why wear them down? So, yeah, honestly, just good to see out of Cole Snyder. Just was really just... I know that there's just not a lot of expectations for Cole Snyder in terms of... I don't know, man. I don't know how this fan base 100% feels about just the quarterback room, what the whole thoughts of everybody were coming into it. Just because, I know that, Drew Vioto was somebody that was, really is just, an exciting pickup in the recruiting market. Then Jay Stuckey is a freshman that has a lot of potential from small school Indiana. A couple of freshmen that you just want to, buy early on and just be like, wow, I love the high school tape. This is obviously going to pan out in college. And the truth of the matter is we have no idea if it is, man. We have no idea if these guys are, college smart at the quarterback position. We have no idea. And, I don't know, man, why not just, give some respect to guys that, have been through it and, even if they've struggled, give them an opportunity to no longer struggle anymore. Like, we've all had, like, situations where, like, we thought we could have done better, just, like, looking back and thinking, man, if I could have had this back, if we could have had that back. Cole Snyder's getting that opportunity. Okay, he's getting his opportunity. I'm sure there's ways that he wished, like, his couple years at Buffalo, his first year was pretty good, man. His first year was pretty freaking decent. And then last year, pretty freaking not decent. Right? Had like 900 fewer passing yards. I know, like, total yards isn't everything. But when you're a full-time starter still and, like, you, like, have the drop-off that he did, yeah, man, I'm sure that there's, like, stuff that he wanted to, like, be able to do. And, you know, I don't know, like, how much of it was, like, an added level of inspiration or anything, but, like, there is, like, a level of, like, I want to show him what I can do when your former play caller is on the other side. Right? So, I don't know, man. It's just, you want to be able to show it off. Cole Snyder, I thought, he definitely earned a lot of respect from me. And not that I ever thought that he was bad or, like, trash or, like really anything like that. Like, I kind of, like, I saw it at Buffalo where, like, he's not, like, a especially gifted, talented quarterback physically, but, like, you know, like, mentally, like, I don't know, man, I can't really speak for anybody's smarts. I just kind of, like, look at passing percentages and, like, stuff like that, kind of judge with my eyes and, like, see if guys get scared out in public or anything like that. Cole Snyder looked confident, man. Cole Snyder looked really, really good, and I think that EMU's offense will definitely is taking a step forward in the pass game. For the whole offense, I don't really know. That kind of remains to be seen. Gonna need a whole season to, like, really, really judge that. But so far, against that defense, against that Don Brown defense, you know, how many times was Cole Snyder sacked? Against that Don Brown defense, 0 times. 0 times. He was sacked 0 times. I haven't even looked at this. They had UMass. They had 2 tackles for loss. That Don Brown defense, 2 tackles for loss. That Don Brown defense. I'm just going to keep saying that. That Don Brown defense. So annoying. Yeah, man, like, respectfully, Don Brown's Dr. Blitz, man. Like, he invented the blitz. You know, he's good at what he does. Hasn't beat EMU once. EMU, though, their defense, and this is going to be my 4th down, this is going to be my closing thought. Expected to see depth, rotations. I expected to see a lot of faces at defensive end and at pass rush. Very, very happy to see that James DeJoncum so far is as good as advertised. 13 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack. That guy was fierce, man. That guy was fierce out there. I think that, you know, there's going to continue to be a lot of rotations and a lot of moving faces at the pass rushing spots. I think that EMU is going to have to try to find the guys that it wants to lean on throughout the year and really try to dedicate itself to the guys that, I shouldn't say dedicate itself. I think it should have, like, a great understanding of, like, how it should effectively sprinkle in some other guys like Trey Lang, Carter Evans, Sterling Miles, like, all these guys. Like, not everybody's going to have a certain role. Everybody's going to have, like, a couple things they're expected to be able to do anytime that they're out there. But I don't think that, I don't know how many, like, every down defensive ends they're going to be. I don't know how many Max Crosbys they're going to have out there. Probably none. But to see that James DeJoncum wasn't just holding it down as, like, a stand-up edge rusher, you know, he really was just, like, being the captain right in the middle of the defense, right in the center of it all, just kind of you know, EMU graduated, a verbal trash talking kind of like big badass and Chase Klein, who was like 6'5" and was like a fierce tackler, all that kind of stuff. Didn't have a lot of tackles broken. There's just like a lot that's missing from that, if not for like the football acumen, but just like the personality and all that.
I have no idea where that ended off, but my recording system just stopped recording on me in the middle of me finishing up. So I'm going to make this pretty quick and try to not wake up any, super little young people downstairs, because this could get really loud and annoying really quick. But essentially the point I was trying to make is this. James DeJoncum, obviously huge welcoming party for him in this game, and a lot of other faces. There's a lot of rotating guys on that defense. DeJoncum's not the only one, but double nickels out there. He showed up. He wasn't the exact same football player that Chase Klein used to be out there, and they're definitely going to be two different kinds of guys. They're going to be definitely dialed up in different ways throughout the year. But that doesn't mean that the presence of Chase Klein wasn't missed, and that doesn't mean that it wasn't, trying to be shot for and trying to grab James DeJoncum from the portal. I think that there's a lot of similar abilities that he brings to the table, and he was able to show that in UMass. So good for him, good for a lot of pieces in this EMU defense to just to get rolling, man, just to get rolling, and just to show, hey, most people around the country can't name EMU's defensive coordinator, but nobody needs to be in this hyped up Don Brown defense. So, no, good to see out of him. Definitely a just somebody that, EMU, like Chris Creighton chose to believe in its defense when he went for it, or I'm sorry, when it was 4th down, drove all the way to the goal line, and he decided to kick it, to get the field goal, be up 10 points instead of 2 touchdowns, because he believed that his defense, even though that UMass just scored a touchdown on him, the series before, that this defense is going to get the job done, and they did. So, strong opening week. Got 11 plus more of these to do. I'm very, very excited for just how the season's going to go. And if if you're calling off work today, oh wait, it's Labor Day. You don't have to call off work. That's why they gave it to you off. The government knew you were going to have a week 1 happy. You were going to come down with the week 1 happies at this time of the year. And guess what? The government looked out for you. They said, enjoy it. Drink a beer. Have some fun by the water if you live by it. To 14 was the final score. EMU 1-0 through week 1. And now it's on to Seattle.